Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Today we are going to be continuing our prefab build of a gingerbread house in part 3 of Build It Live with GONxFREAKS. And I'm your host, GONxFREAKS, and I guess we'll just get into it. Couple things I didn't go over in my previous videos in regards to this menu. Some helpful knowledge is it does give you up in this upper right hand corner your size of your current prefab, the dimensions. I believe 16 is your height, and then 35 and 34 are your width and length. It does give you some other information here. I'm honestly not sure what loot means because I haven't placed any loot containers in here yet, so that confuses me. The fetch, restore power, and then your sleeper count are also here, which is helpful. Your tier is listed, which you can set, and I'm going to be getting to that later tonight. And then some of these other values may be handy as well. This upper right-hand menu is very helpful when you're, especially in the later time of your build. So after you've actually built everything and you're kind of getting ready to put in the more back-end details, I guess you might say. You might want to, excuse me, look through here for the answers that you're looking for. Again, I will get to some of these later tonight in a little bit more detail. But before we do that, the idea for us this evening is to put in all the details, really. I have done some changes between last stream and tonight. Just some little minor things. I added some lollipops, which I think is a nice detail. I did that using these two items, the concrete pillar plate by maneuvering it on its side, and the concrete pillar, specifically the 0.05, made it look just right for the popsicle stick. And then I painted those a different white than these. I honestly can't remember which white I used. I don't think it was this. No. So unfortunately that'll be a mystery for the moment, but I know it's in there because I used it. I added some gum drops, which is what these are, or gum balls. I'm sorry, using the wrong term. Gum balls, so actual gum balls. Thought that was kind of a nice thing to put around like the perimeter. What else did I added? Another chimney, because it is still a house, and I thought this room looked kind of big and cold without it, so I put in just a normal little fireplace. I need to paint the back, apparently. There we go. Hey, perfect. With brick all over it. And I added this section. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing with this, but I think it's going to be a garden. I did a little reading as into the story of Hansel and Gretel, and the witch had a little garden, and in that garden she had a cage that was kind of hidden away where she could keep her children while she was fattening them up before she got ready to eat them. Gobble gobble. Excuse me. So, what else did I do? I think I added this door. Nothing too special, just a door, screen door, inner door. I don't really like how there's that gap, but I can live with it for now. And I fixed the oven finally, which was kind of a challenge for me. It took me a little while of trying things out and destroying it and trying something else and rinse and repeat quite a few times. But now it looks like what I was envisioning, kind of that large pizza style oven. And the door opens, which is just great. And you can put your little children in there and cook them all up. And then they'll be ready in a few hours. I don't know how long it takes to cook a being, to be honest. Hope I never do. Cookie floor, cookie stairs, cookie ceiling. Because why not? I guess a cookie floor here too. I got rid of the wood and made it cookie because that just seemed to make more sense. Cookie frames around the windows, which I had mostly done. Cookie brackets to keep the roof supported on the inside. And I guess that's pretty much it. So that kind of concludes the structure of it. And then tonight I just want to start adding all the cool things like dining room table. We don't need these guys out here anymore. And we don't need that. And lighting. So this is cool as the white porch, the porch light, which we already used here. You can change the color on these lights if you hold down E, and you get on the, I can't read it, of course, it's too bright. Edit, and you can actually just change the color. You change the color here. You can change how bright it is, the intensity. I wanted it a little subdued. I think default was at 2. The range, I think, is just how far out it's going to go, like how far it illuminates. I should just recommend leaving that stuff pretty much the way it is. The other cool thing you can do, though, is you could make it to fluctuate if you want that. Down delay of 0 is going to fluctuate faster, and a delay of 2 is going to, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, it should be faster. It should be slower. Pulsing, if that's your thing. Blinking, which can be very handy depending on what you're building. I don't know why you would do static, because that's just giving you the light without the light looking like it's on. But I suppose that could be helpful in some ways. Oh no, static is normal. Oh, just doing weird stuff on me. Okay, never mind. There we go. Beautiful. I went with pink and blue just because it honestly, because it kind of looked like cotton candy to me. But I guess now that I say pink and blue, it's kind of like girl and boy, and it's Hansel and Gretel, so I guess that's fitting too. I did want to put another set on the back porch. So just go to edit, and you can just change your color. I suppose if I was really picky. Oh, kitty cat. Venture cat. Venture cat. What'd you just do, kitty? There we go. Okay. Just placed a bunch of lights all over the place. Good girl. She's a good kitty. So if I edit, I can actually copy the hex value. I am so inclined. Just paste it. And you have to hit OK, or else the changes won't be saved. I guess 1.8 is the default. My bad. Anyway, there we go. That's pretty. Looks like cotton candy to me. Colors of cotton candy. How else can we make this thing look tastier? I don't know. If you have any ideas, leave a comment. I would love to hear it. I'm not on the right tab to receive my comments. Well, that's just embarrassing. There we go. Comments. Can't reply to comments if I can't see they're there. All right. So this is enter kitty. Seriously. This is not the place to be cleaning your. Ow, kitty. She's getting aggressive, people. All right, she turned her back to me. I guess she's done with me for the moment. That's exciting. Moment of aggression from a little venture cat. She's so sweet. Where was I? I forgot. Totally lost my train of thought. No, anyway, we're gonna enter in here. This will be the living area. So they got the. So we need a couch. That right now. C-O-U-C-H. I can spell couch. So there's lots of couches to choose from. if you hit dev blocks and make sure that's on, you also get these helpers, which are actually really helpful in this particular case. I want an ugly couch. Leather or modern is probably the ones I want, so I'll take them both. And like a lot of these items, if you hold down R, you can get to shape. So we got that. That. Ew. Is that a different color? That's brown? Doesn't look brown, that looks gray. Yeah, we'll have to go with leather. All right, leather it is. Get out of here, you. Need ya. Seems a little big. She's just a little old sweet lady, lives by herself. Oops. So, shape. Perfect. Actually, that's pretty good. All right, just gonna get rid of this. And we really don't need you anymore, unless I decide to do that again for some reason. Then we need a dining area. I have a dining room table all set to go. Put it right. Let's see, close to the kitchen. This. Yeah. Being centered like that. That's perfect. We need some chairs. Some chair. Plural. Wooden chair, I think. And we're gonna put some food on the table. Unfortunately, we can't put like legit food, but we can do a food pile. Medium, small, large. Large is too large. That's medium. Large is huge. Wow. That's a lot of food. It's disproportionate. I don't know. It's a lot of food. Let's do it. Lots of food. I'm gonna make this place look a little homey too. There is a table with a light in it. Let's just go with light and see if I get a little end table. Light. Little table with light. Little table with the light. Yeah, let's try table. Table. There it is. Trying to remember my colors. it does work. Just didn't look like it worked. All right. If I remember correctly, blue light is the most calming of the colors. Or blue, light blue. Red makes you hungry. Yellow is the most attention grabbing. Those are what I remember the most. Let's see, food pile on the table. That makes sense. Fatten up those kids. Couch near the fire, because why not? Need more lighting. Lighting. Let's see if we made this nighttime. I also need a drink apparently, because I'm almost done with this one. I'm still thirsty. Right now. It's pretty dark in here. So that's cool. Let's look down here, just curious. Well, not in there. That's all hot and there's a door in this thing. The world? Oh. There we are. Okay. Got lost in my oven. I think I'm in invincible mode. It's so dark. Okay. Light back on. Daytime back on. See everything. And we need lighting. So, lights. Don't want external lighting inside. That'd just be silly. I use these mostly. White bulb light flush mount. Things we don't need no more. At least I don't think we do. This is just your basic interior lighting, which is pretty straightforward, actually. But really fit the motif. We also have, don't think they'll show up here. Torches, candle, maybe. The difference, a lot of these things are doubled. Usually you want the one that's labeled POI because that will make it a light you can turn on or off. The other ones I think are just always off, which is kind of weird. Meaning once you place your prefab into your world or load it into your world, those items won't be able to be manipulated. But if you, so for instance, on these lights out here, you can turn them on or off in the prefab. Once you save your prefab, export it, and load it into a world, those lights will either be on or off depending on how you set it in your prefab. So that is kind of important to know. Sorry, I didn't clarify that earlier. Just a helpful tip. So I think maybe the lanterns are going to be the way to go. I'm thinking these kind. It's hard to see this, and I know the resolution isn't going to be able to show really well. There's ones that can sit on the table. That's this one. Handle is just relaxed. There's this kind that goes, it looks like into the wall, but so does this one with a big fat nail. So this one has a subtle nail. This one has a very obvious nail. And this is what I'm looking for, which just hangs from straight above. Oh yeah, actually that's kind of cool. The downside to these guys, well, actually maybe not, now that thinking about this. Usually when you just place them, they're kind of dim. Don't give off a whole lot of light, but if you go to edit, I was gonna say, I bet you can increase the intensity. And I want to make it blue without being a stupid blue. Sweet. Let's do 3. So, lied about the range. I am increasing those a little bit. Didn't expect to. Now, that's much more bright. Well, it's better. I think I'll need more. Make it nighttime. Off. It's still pretty dark. But during the day, it's not that bad. Still darker than I expected it to be. It's okay. It seems like I have an awful lot of lanterns up here now. Didn't really want that many. So, any ideas for lighting? Again, it is like a witch's home. I don't think she wants a lot of light in the inside. It's supposed to look really inviting on the outside, though, which I think it does. So once you're inside, though, she keeps you by feeding you, and then she probably drugs you, and you fall asleep, and then she's... Oh, I have to fix that. And then I forgot I did this too. Looks like I fixed up the kitchen a little bit. She takes you out to her garden, and yeah, that's perfect actually. Never mind. Yeah, open. Door will not open for me now. Who's opening this door? That's annoying. All right, Q is back on. Just go through this wall. Problem solved. Door closed. Yeah, I think that won't be a problem in the game. Okay. So I did forget to show off the kitchen. What I did was add some cupboards, made a little back prep area because I didn't know what else to do with that. And then just this completely innocent looking broom closet here. Well, I guess you can't. Oh, shoot. Okay, you can. Down here. The kitchen. Should put, let's see, they're called gore for some reason. Gore block. Gore block. One looks the most burnt up. This one's just the grossest or disgusting of the options. Oh, let me place it though. Get in there. Get in there. There you go. Looks good. Guess that would be Hansel. Or maybe it's the witch. I don't know, but it looks good. For now, we're going to leave it. I hadn't quite thought of that, though. So, cool. Give me an idea. For now, though, I can't even remember having done that. That's really strange. Making that bottom thing there, like that. Oh, it's so I could extend the bottom of that thing out, so I could put these things in here, because they look so neat. All right, I think so. We come in here, there's a couch. We got, that looks like a normal seating area. Living room, 2 chairs, because that's all she needs. Broom closet. Gotta fix this real quick. Actually, that's the wrong. Here we go. It does unset on all sides. No. I guess that percent doesn't matter. All right. Kitchen. This moss is pretty cool. Hanging moss. Kind of, I don't know. It looks like, it reminds me of like hanging the garlic kitchen. So let go. I feel like I should go under the cupboard. Do that down here, maybe? Under here? Yeah, there. Doesn't quite fit. Yeah, it's kind of having clipping issues, but screw it. Control Z will just undo that last placement. Sometimes safer than using other means of getting rid of objects. Yeah, we put it up there, but I think down here, I also use these cobwebs, which are really neat. Oh yeah, our bedroom too. I'll need to put a bed in there or something. Yeah, some cobwebs in there. And we actually need those other lanterns. I was wrong. Not to grab them, I mean. Need the one go on the wall. You just want the big obvious nail, I think. There we go. Higher. Should be useful. I wonder if one of these is offset. Maybe that's why. Let's look. Nope, just a smaller nail. It's the only difference. Alright, good to know. Good to know. Don't need you. Still don't like having so many lanterns, so I'm gonna kill those two. And that one. Increase the intensity on these. This one. Increase the intensity and the range. That's better. I think I'm going to turn the range up on these guys too. That light spread out a little bit more. And if I can, do it this one. Range 5 or 6. And oh, let's see, the intensity is really low on this one. Get it back to 5 though. That time it gave me a little ring. Interesting. Alright, I am going to use some candles. Just by the doors. They look kind of cool. Sure why I can't. Yeah. I like that too. I'll put it right there, but oh, because of the trim. It's the wood trim. That I like that being there. It's subtle, but it's there, and I like it, so I'm gonna leave it. Don't really need exterior lighting. This is supposed to be old school anyway. Usually, actually having this really doesn't make sense. So I have to get rid of it. That's just how it is. I'm gonna replace it with another table of a similar nature. I have a feeling this isn't gonna work. So I might need to do one of these. This looks really big. Don't think I can place anything on it without it hovering. Yeah. As I thought so. Hmm. Hmm. Darn. Just gonna leave it because that one just fits just too well. It's like the perfect end table. Even if it's a light electric. Alright, we need a bed. Use beds a lot. Is king size bed? Seems a little big for in here. Since this is old schooly, what beds we got though? This bed. There and a wardrobe. What do they call them? A wardrobe. Let's try it. Cat cabinets. Sorry, I'm not sure. I'm going to look for like a, I don't know, like a dresser or cabinet, not cabinet, say wardrobe, something like that. You know, for clothes and stuff. Hey, Rat, welcome to the stream. Thanks for watching. Here we go, something. What's that? Communion table? What's the heck? That's not what I was expecting. Oh, dude, I didn't know there were church bells in here. That's kind of cool. I knew there were barrels. And the piano, which doesn't fit here. It's nice. Pool table definitely does not fit here. ATM, I just put an ATM in our bedroom. Nah, I think so. Shelves. Clothes rack. Guess I could just make a closet. Let's just do that. Let's just make a wardrobe. I'm so silly. Looking for items when I can make items. Closet door. Here. Yes. Use plate. Let's try it. This way, yeah. Can I place? So in the game, there's like those hanging bags. Let's try hanging. Nope. Wait, oh, I have this clicked on. Don't want that. Let's close. Hanging clothes bag. Where are you? I know you exist. Just don't know what you're called. It's like dry cleaning bag? Oh, this is gonna drive me crazy. Huh. I don't know. Just don't know. What is it called if it's not like clothes bag or let's try bag. Duffel bag? Well, that might be handy. Here it is. Garment bag. Garment bag. Okay. Didn't expect that. We'll go with black because she's a witch. Can I put you in here? And no. Can't even put it in here. Because, okay, I know why. It's just not fair. It's sad. It's just sad, but it's how it is. Just how it is. It's gonna be a dark closet and it's gonna be empty. There's gonna be nothing in it. Wah. Alright, let's paint this wall. Using the picker texture, holding down R, you get to your radial menu, pick your texture, hovering on the texture you want. I need paint surface on so I don't have to paint each block individually, and voila, all done. Easy. Do the inside too. You can paint all sides as well. If you hold down R, when you do that, you paint all sides, but I don't want to do that and accidentally paint things that I've painted earlier, so I just am not using that to avoid any issues. Darn, alright, this is starting to look pretty sweet. Let's just kind of look at it from the I just showed up to this house perspective. Okay, we got a walkway, candy, looks yummy, gonna eat it, gingerbread, cookie, some wood door, that's okay. We'll give him that. Candles, looks kind of nice and homey. Nice little fireplace, lots of food to eat, get me all fat, yum yum yum. Let's see, I'll check out her kitchen just because I'm curious. Oh, it looks like a nice little kitchen. Nothing suspicious about that. Little back door. Another back door, another back door. Be a garden out there eventually. Right. And you come in the kitchen, everything looks good. Got her bedroom, bed, nightstand, closet, currently empty. Currently empty. Yeah, it's pretty good. All right, then the secret part is you gotta kind of get in here and open this. Problem here with the stairs. We're gonna fix that real quick. Fixed. Down the cookie stairs, onto the cookie basement, and brick. And there's an oven. Oh my goodness, of those human remains. Oh, that is just horrible. What is going on here? And now I want to escape, but oh no, it's the witch, and she caught me, and I can't. She's gonna eat me. Yum yum yum. All right. What's missing? I feel like something's missing. Oh, because the walls are all barren. That's the problem. Barren walls. You can't have barren walls. So most of the cool things for walls, I would say, are found under signs, if you can spell sign correctly. There are the neon signs that you can use, like the lights, including the exit signs. They don't really fit here. Street lights, walking sign, those all light up, which is pretty cool. I assume you can change their color to some degree, like you can with the other lights. Let's find out, actually, because I just assuming. Let's just put one on there and turn it on. Edit. Yep. Change the colors. To some degree. No, you can. That's pretty sweet, actually. Oh, well. It's kind of like the desk lamp. It looks like you change the color that's being emitted, but the color of the sign itself more or less stays the way it defaults to. Let's restore defaults. So that's good to know. I never tried that before, but we don't want that anywho. And what you want is more, I don't know, pretty pictures. What do kids like? Kids like animals. So do I. Must be a kid at heart. So that's actually not signs, although there are some cool posters in here. You also have access to your letters and numbers through the sign, but you can also get those through here. There's lots of ways to get to things. Really want is pictures. Sure. And as long as you have your dev blocks button or tab on, there is a picture and paintings helper, which just makes it so much quicker. It's actually kind of a nice picture. It would look nice above the fireplace, wouldn't it? That's the wrong frickin' shape. Darn it. Darn it. Let's see about this one. Oh. Just isn't centered. I don't like that. Oh well, we'll figure that one out later. Now, let's see, we got kitty. Oh, look at that kitty. A pretty kitty. And again, she is a witch. Does she really want to look at the kitties? Probably not. That's more witch style. That's a total witch painting. She would like that. That's more her style. Gives me the idea that that would probably be in here. Up too high. Too high. That's better. That's much better. Kitchen. Maybe if there's a suitable picture for the kitchen. What's this? Waterfalls. Probably not. What's this? Forest. It's okay. Animals. No idea what that is, but it's pretty big. It's abstract. That's also big. What's that? Is that cute? Aw. Hugging. Oh, that's so sweet. And what's this? Cats. More cats. Not too many cats. Some more pups in here. I know I said that, kitty. I'm sorry. It's aesthetics. It's art. That's perfect. There we go. So when the kids are eating and they get to look at cute little animal pictures, they'll feel very safe and secure that this nice lady who is feeding them all this food is only looking out for their best interests. And she's not thinking about eating them at all. Not at all. All right. I think that is. Gosh, is that it? Are we done? Seems, I don't know. I'm reluctant to ever say anything is really ever done, but I think our mission is mostly accomplished. This down here looks a little boring, but it doesn't need to look exciting. Yeah, I can't really think of any, like, I mean, she's a witch. This is her secret kitchen where she cooks the children, or plans to. I know, I could put some more gore here. She is cutting up other people she's caught, right? She's a cannibal. She's gotta eat. Lady's gotta eat. These lying down ones look like they'll be very helpful. This guy's offset, which kind of means he's off to the side, which I think is what we actually need. This is good. We already used that, so I don't want to overuse the same one. And this one actually is kind of out of place. It's like the oddball one. That one's just gross. So let's see. Get rid of these things I don't need no more. These though. She does need lighting down here. My bad. Where did I put those lanterns? Put back my lanterns. This one I'll make fluctuating just for the creepiness factor. Probably shouldn't be. Actually, having it bright and fluctuating is kind of cooler. Yeah, I like that. Be kind of ready though. That's way better. Let's see. Here. A bit more orange and just a touch more intense, but otherwise the same as defaults. And just because we can, since we already set this just the way we want it, we're going to use the Z to select it and Control C to copy. Hold G. Just hold G and move it. Control V. Excellent. Yeah, it's not too bright, but it's not so dark that you can't see anything. Let's see, now we can get rid of that. We don't need it. This can go here. This we don't need it. Don't need it. We'll just put you up there in case we want you later. Same with you two. These I'm going to drop because I don't need them. This. The heck does that say? Do this in remembrance of me. Oh, it really is an altar. Okay, I don't want that. It's just a little creepy. A little too creepy. Feeling for the witch who eats children. It's saying something. Oh yeah, it's just... It's freaking perfect right there. I love it. I love it. Dead animal, corpse. Kind of gross. Love it. It's great. What else we got? Oh yeah, we got these two. This guy. Yeah, see, he doesn't fit right, but the other one does. Oh, there we go. That's thoroughly disgusting, I think. I wish we could put those decals on here. That's something I haven't gone over. What am I thinking? So this is really cool, just totally off on the side. I gotta remember how to do this. If I remember correctly, so there's these decals you'll notice in the game. They're like little splotches of blood, or like there's like a piece of paper that's like stuck to the ground, and it's not the garbage piles that make noise. It's just like artwork that's on the material of the whatever, the road usually, or something along those lines. You can put them on any terrain tile, but you can't put them on like building block tiles. You can't put them on anything that's got the cube type aspect to it. But if it's a terrain, if I think it's control, I think it's shift, hold shift, alt, and right click. I was right. And you click decal on. I mean, you probably can't read this. It's super tiny. And then you have to type in a number. And I think it's like 1 through 15. There's a couple numbers, or like if you type it in, nothing will happen because the object is missing or something. I don't know why. But I think it's 1 and 8. Just type 1. You get a little blood spot. Just think it's really 8. Because that's just, it's cool. And then if I think, so again, shift, alt, right click. Every time you do this, you have to click decal on. And then again, select your number. And I'm going to try 8 this time. That's right. It is another blood. It's like the dark blood and the bright blood. That's the only difference, really, I can say. They look obviously different. A little closer so you can see this. So there's also, like I said, there's a number of them. I don't know them all by heart. Shift, alt, right click. Wait, I got it wrong again already. Shift, alt, right click. Oh, it's because I'm in the ground. Shift, alt, right click. Oh, it's because of that. Decal on, and like 4. Oh, that's blood too. Sweet. Number 4. I remember that one. It's kind of like a halfway in between, bigger than both. Let's find out about. Let's do all these. Let's just do it. Shift, alt, click. Let's see. We did 1. Let's do 2. 2 is a weird piece of paper. Shift, alt, right click. Decal on. 3. There's another little piece of. What the heck that is? It's some sort of garbage. Shift, alt, right click. We did 4. 5. Okay. 6. 6 looks like whatever that was. 3, I think. Interesting. Very similar. Alt shift, right click. 7. 7's like some random schmutz. Some schmooze. Some stuffs. Shift, alt, right click. And that was 9. So we'll do 10. The heck is that? I have no idea what that is. Oh wait, maybe it's like a line for roads. Oh, it's a road line. Okay, that's cool. Like a grungy road line. That was 10. Maybe 11 is also a grungy road line. Nope. 12? I think 12 is one of the ones that's missing. No, I was wrong. It's 13. 15. No. 14. 15. I guess I was wrong about those missing ones. Or it just goes higher than I thought. Nope, doesn't want me to do 16. So, what was that? What the heck was that? Try that again. 6. 6. 7. 1. Did we try 11? Maybe we didn't do 11. No, I did 11. Well, it certainly didn't enjoy me trying 16 very much, so, well, that looks like what we get. So a lot of garbage, strange double lines, which I'm guessing are road lines. They are different, but we already have road lines, which is confusing me. In I thought we did. Oh, I guess I'm wrong. I guess that's how you get road lines. All right. Well, that's good to know. I don't see them much except in parking spaces, so I guess that makes some sense. Now I'm just going to see, I think. So Z to select, Z to Z to select, and J to clear, and that did not work. Huh. Oh, that's okay. So decals are, I guess, a little trickier to work with. If you place a decal, apparently getting rid of it is not as easy as I thought. Um, so I'm just going to J to clear and L to fill it right back in. All those are gone. But I did want to show this off because I think that was pretty cool. They're a little annoying to use. Shift, Alt, and right click gets you the menu. You got to make sure you click decal on each time. Apparently the number is 1 through 15 and none are missing. I thought there were. When I tried this earlier, I had problems with a few numbers, but those all worked up until 16. It gave me trouble. So 1 through 15, and at least three of them, because it wasn't at least, it was exactly 3, are blood. So that can be helpful. And I believe those numbers are 1, 4, and 8. I don't know why they're not like 1, 2, and 3, but I didn't make the game. So that's just how these things roll. I'm just going to hit OK. Oh, apparently there's a 0 as well. That's what that was. The mystery. And I can't control Z to get rid of it. God, that's a little annoying. I won't lie. So if you wanted to select the box, or box, can't speak, the block below, like so, you just hold Shift, so you can move your selection area inside of something that already exists. Z for that, J to clear it, and then make sure you have the right thing selected, and L to fill it back in. Normally you don't have to do that. I just had to because these decals didn't want to go away. Oh, hey. Apparently I accidentally undid this. I tried to undo the decal. Let's fill that back in. There. And just because I did a bunch of stuff, I'm going to save real quick. And I think this is actually a great time for a quick little break because I need to grab another drink as I'm getting very parched and it's affecting my voice. So if you will give me like 3 to 5 minutes, take a quick intermission. When I come back, I would like to show you what to do once you have completed your prefab and you're ready to prepare it to go into the world that you want to place it into. There are a couple important steps to do at this junction, even before you would start placing other advanced items like sleepers, which I am also going to do and show you. I don't know if we're going to get to that tonight, but we probably will, considering that it's only 8:30. So I will be right back, just taking a quick little break. I'm going to switch this over to our BRB scene because I made it and we don't get to use it very often. So I just want to show it off. So I'll be right back. Hey, thank you, everyone. I am back. If you'll just give me one quick second, Team Venture Cat decided to place her butt right on my mouse again. Kitty. Kitty. Oh, kitty. I'll just move my mouse pad. How's that? We'll compromise. Okay. Shift my stuff over. Here we go. Kitty. Okay, so as I was saying, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so we are going to go ahead and prepare this sucker so that it can be exported, essentially. That's really the end result of what I'm going to get at. Before we do that, I need to do something about the bottom, however, because it's just sort of hanging out there. If you leave it like this and you allow what you want, which is to, I don't remember where it is. There's a button where you're basically copying the air, and you do want that. If you have anything built underground, at least this is how I've learned. But if you have this big open space like this, it will copy this big open space, and when you place it into your world one way or another, it'll have this big open space underneath, and that'll cause stability issues. The whole thing will collapse, and you'll cry, because that's what happened to me. And well, I didn't actually cry, but it's pretty darn close. So, but it's really nothing to cry over because it's just a prefab, so it's all saved, and you just have to go in and fix it, which is what I did. And the way I fixed it is by doing this. I just kind of make sure everything is done, which it is. Then I go with the Z button to make my volume, and then I just start filling this with stone. So L to fill it. And then you can just re-select or hold shift to move your selection. In this particular case, I could have actually gone all the way over. I think that looks right. Nope, one more. Go. It's a little tricky. Sometimes it looks like it's over. Looks like it's one over, but when you get a little closer and change your perspective, you'll notice right where it is. L to fill. I'm using stone because I don't know. I guess you could use anything. I just like using stone because it makes me feel confident that everything on top will be stable as a result. I know this is weird, but I don't like that being not painted. It just bothers me. Same with this. Wrong color. It doesn't matter at all because this is going to be underground and outside, and no one would see it unless they dug down here, but I never said I wasn't crazy. You can be crazy and not dangerous, right? I think so. I sure hope so. I don't think I'm dangerous. All right. I'm just crazy. Happy crazy. All right. I think in this world you gotta be a little crazy to be happy. L to fill. There might be better ways of doing this. I am not trying to tell you that this is the actual best way of doing this. It's just the way I figured out how to solve the problem of having this air below your prefab when you place it in the world, because that's like not cool. Annoying, actually. All right, now that looks flush, which it is, let's do this one easy. Sorry, Shift G holding to get your resize like such. L to fill. Right click to deselect. Or I'm sorry, left click to deselect. I know my left and my rights. I actually do know my lefts and my rights, and I don't know why I didn't just go all the way down. L to fill. L to fill. Make sure that's flat, which it is. Make sure that's flat, which it is. Or flush, whatever the right word is. Corner. Right, fill it with L. Deselect with left click. There's different ways to deselect a volume. Like if you have it as such, you can left click it is the way I recommend, at least in most cases. You can also backspace, but if you backspace, it's going to delete everything inside the volume as well. Just so you know, it's kind of like hitting J. Not always, which is why I don't recommend you using it. There was another way. Oh, you can always like just punch. Or I guess that's really just left clicking. So I guess there's two ways of doing it. But the best way is to left click. L, I think this is all, yep. Sorry, L, Z to Z. I'm right there, Z. I want to accidentally cut into something I built, and that looks good. L to fill. Done. So now I got this, something's wrong here. Something's wrong here. There we go. So now I got this big square base. That's what you want. That's what you need. And then there won't be any empty air pockets. And you could fly inside and everything looks good. You don't think anything like weird, like a weird spot, then you're good to go. Sometimes because you're placing things, if you just punch or it's kind of random, sometimes you can place something and when you get rid of it, it'll leave a hole. And you can fly through and sometimes you'll see them in here. I like filling them in. I don't think they're that important to worry about, but they do happen from time to time. So once you have that all set, there's kind of a little list of things you're going to want to do before you actually throw this thing into the world. First thing you really want to do is save it. So just save. If you haven't saved it already, you definitely want to save it now. And you want to update anything you might have changed, and even if it's just a little thing. Then, since we're already here, I think it's on this screen, you want to show, here it is, show screenshot bounds. And that'll give you this nice little green box. It's really hard to see on screen, I know. It's this bright green thin box. And all this is a view screen for you to take a screenshot, and that's going to make a thumbnail. Then something that you can use to kind of easily recognize your prefab like that is probably cool. I hit F7, not F7. Actually, I don't think that. Yeah, if you hit F7, there you go, to get rid of that. Oh, it won't let me. Well, let me take the picture. Never mind, you can't do it. Hit F7 once, though. Just make sure your hand's not in the picture because it will take a picture of your hand. And then update prefab thumbnail. And then everything that's inside this green, not including the menu, will be saved as your thumbnail. So that's step one. And then you want to unclick it to get rid of that box because it's, you don't want that box. It's just a little annoying. And then I think what I would suggest is going to, on this menu again, it's level tools, which I use a lot. It's the one where you go to show ground. That actually would be the next step, is to show your ground and then move it to where it actually is your ground level. This is where ground actually means ground, and you do that just by moving it up or down right underneath where it says the checkbox to show the ground level. And you want it to be basically flush with your main ground surface. This is where it is going to place it in the world and consider this to be the ground, the surface level. So that's why that is important. Again, I would save it just to be safe. Sometimes if you save it, and you exit, and then you come back into the prefab editor, it may move the ground. But from my experience, it's just because you're going back into the prefab editor. Oh my goodness, the prefab editor. And not because it's messed up. So it should still place fine in your world, is what I'm trying to say. Hey guys, I'm sorry, I totally wasn't paying attention to my chat. Welcome. Commander Hammer, awesome. Thank you for joining. Give me any tips if you have them. Commander Hammer is a bit more of an experienced builder than me when it comes to the actual building part. Just so anyone else who's watching knows. So anything he says is probably good advice. I'll be trying to keep my eye open. So welcome everyone who is watching. I'm going over what to do when you're done with your prefab. You're all done. You have a few things to do. The first thing was to make a thumbnail by showing screenshot bounds here on the level tools tab. Once you have that done, I moved my ground up so that it's at the right level. So then when we place it into the world, it'll match up correctly. Then the other thing, which is also on this list, is under prefab properties. This is where you kind of get into what quests you have involved. So if you wanted to place things for quests, you could do that. You have to make sure in here you select which quests that you set up. So if you wanted it, you've had a fetch quest set up, you select fetch. Fetch, clear, and infested, and possibly restore power are the 4 that you would care about. It looks like they have bandit in here. I'm pretty sure it's not going to do anything yet because there are no actual bandits to use. But I am to understand that in Alpha 22 we will have bandits. So I will be definitely looking forward to playing with those in the prefab editor once they show up. For now, though, I didn't make this a quest, so I'm not going to click any of those. I don't really know what this is. It says not used, so I don't use it. Okay, that's pretty much it. Don't know what else to tell you. My guess is it was something that mattered before, but doesn't really matter now, or is possibly something that's just going to mess with things in ways that I don't know how to predict. So prefab tags, these are important. If you tag it for the wasteland, it's going to not place it anywhere else unless you also tell it where else you can place it. I found using the biome tags were the most straightforward, but I haven't used a lot of these. Some of these I'm not even really sure why they're designated as such. But some I just don't know. Like I don't know what RWG only is. I just have no idea. Or why radio is an option on this list. Some are pretty obvious, like Old West. Yes, trader. If you wanted to make your own trader, I suppose that is possible. And you would want to designate it as a trader for sure, because that is important for the game to know. Other things here. Editor groups. This is really more for the in-game, this prefab editor. If you go, so I'll exit out of this real quick. If you go to the 5th of these tabs, which is prefab browser, you can find existing prefabs in here and load them up. I'm guessing that's what that is for. When you are in here, if for some reason you saved your prefab and you started a new one and you wanted to go back to this, this is how you would find it, is just by typing in the name of your prefab that you made. In this case, it's gingerbread. So it's right there. It comes right up and you can see our cool little thumbnail that we took just like 3.5 minutes ago. Maybe that was longer because I've been talking a lot more than I thought. So anyway, you would then be able to load it. Actually, so we can't just load it. We'll cancel that because we made changes. Save it. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. I think it's saved. Anyway, that's how you would load your prefab if you needed to. Since we already have ours open, I'm not going to mess around with that. Think about it. that's really the stuff that you would need to worry about the most, except for the very final 3 steps, or it's really 1 step, but it's like 3 things you got to do. The way I learned was from another YouTuber, and I cannot remember his name off the top of my head, but I do want to give him credit for this because figuring this out on my own without his tutorial, would have been very difficult. So I will add a link to his video in the description once I get it, and sort of after the fact. But this works, and it works pretty well. I haven't had any problems with it. I am to understand you want to do this step before you do any zombie placement. Apparently this is important. It's about the build itself, so it's about your structure, and it's based on how you view it from a distance and then how it is rendered as you approach it, so that things don't get weird and wonky. You get out of this menu and you hit F1, and I have this written down. You type prefab. Oops, because I can't type. Apparently I have caps lock on. Prefab. I don't know if that matters, but as far as I know, all lowercase. And simplify. And it does its thing. Apparently it simplified it, even though it looks like it just destroyed my entire base. Okay. That's not right. I feel like that's not right. So what I'm going to do is load my prefab back up. Yeah, discard changes. Okay. I think I made a boo-boo with the ground. Maybe that's not important at this point. It is important, I swear, because I had to do this at one point. I had problems placing it in my world. So I'm going to move the ground back down all the way. Bottom of my actual everything stuffs. My block of stuffs. Let's save it. I'm going to do that again. F1. Prefab simplify. Yeah, it just erased everything. But only the grounds. Didn't erase the actual prefab. So we're going to hope that is correct. And you know what I think about it, I may have skipped that step before. Just do it. So we're going to go through the steps anyway. Prefab. Step 2 is prefab combine. That's normal. It does this weird thing. It makes everything look really funky, but that's okay. Did this before. It did the exact same stuff, and everything seemed to work out fine. So that's cool. And then prefab, whoops, F1. And the last step is prefab export. Export it. And then we were done. Now at this point, I don't hit save. Because I don't want to actually save all that stuff. So I exit, discard changes. Go back into my prefab editor. And again, I'm not telling you this is like the best way to do things. Thank you, Commander Hammer. Yeah, bandits will be freaking awesome. I can't wait for that. Adding a new dynamic to this game is just... Not that there aren't already enough, but more is always better. So I don't save it at that point because I know I'm going to work on it more. I still have the garden to build. I'm going to sleep on this, and in the morning or in the middle of the night, I'm going to have some eureka idea, and I'm going to write it down. I'm going to have to do it the next available opportunity, just because that's how I roll. But for the most part, that is it. What it would do after we do all that exporting is generate 6 files. I believe it's 6. I'm almost positive it's 6. And they will be located in You might want to write this down. I will also put this in the description. It's in your user folder, app data, roaming, 7 days to die, local prefabs. So it's pretty straightforward as to where it's located. In that same 7 days to die folder, you will also find your files for your local worlds. And that's what we're going to be covering the next time I do a build your prefab, is kind of go over actually placing it into your world. I still find that to be a little tricky, but I do understand there's 3 ways of doing it. I have done 2 of them, and I would like to learn the third before I try to talk about it. So I need a little bit of time to do my own research on that. But the 3 ways are basically building a world and then physically placing it in there. That works really well in certain ways, but in other ways, it's like a pain in the butt. The best way that I found so far is that through these tags that I showed you earlier under, it's under level tools, under prefab properties. So if you have the prefab tag set, such as wasteland, and you make a map that's like a really large wasteland, then it'll probably be in there. You can also open the XML in external editor, actually edit the XML file, and add that prefab in there. So what you basically do is it's just a big text file. You got to go through, find a POI location, copy it, and then paste it in there and change the new pasted one to match the name of your prefab. In this case, it would be Gingerbread House. That I haven't actually done yet. So again, I will be doing a little bit of practicing before I show it to y'all. So once you have those 6 files, that's really all you need to, you can zip it and share it with a friend, and then they can unzip it and load those files into their local prefab folder, and then they'll have it. If you do a co-op game, you do need to both have them. So if you want to do it with a friend and have this POI in there, if you want to have a game with your friend and have it in there, sorry, it came out wrong, then you'll both have to both have copies of the prefab in your game folders. But that's really easy. Again, you just share it through Google Drive or something like that. Apparently, emails may have some issues with these files because they get tagged as spam or possibly virus property. I don't know. I don't know that much about that kind of stuff. They get flagged and rejected, and all that fun stuff, and you don't want that. So to avoid it, it has been recommended by others that you just use Google Drive or means along those lines. You can also, if you're into building and you want to share them, I believe Nexus Mods is a good place to host your stuff. I have used Nexus Mods for other games, but never 7 Days to Die, so I don't have a lot of advice on that at all. Just wanted to mention it though. Yeah, so because we have a little bit more time tonight than I expected at this juncture, the next thing that I would like to go over is placing zombies. Apparently, if you don't do what we did with the exporting your actual your prefab stuff, or I'm sorry, exporting it. Not exporting it, making it simplified. That's the word I was looking for. Before you place zombies, then the zombies get a little, they can get erased or something like that. I haven't experienced this myself, so I don't really know how accurate that is. So we're going to kind of test it now. Since I didn't save the simplify, I'm going to just go ahead and place some from zombers, and then on my own later on, I'm going to go ahead and do the simplify and see what happens, and see if what I learned as a rumor is accurate or not. I think I say it's a rumor because I didn't learn it from somebody who knows what they're talking about, like a YouTuber. So I just learned it from some random thread on like Reddit or something when I was randomly searching things regarding 7 Days to Die. So, sources are what they are. I don't know how trustworthy that information is. But placing zombies, very kind of cool. A little annoying at first, especially when you're not used to it and you're like, what the heck am I doing? Intuitively, you would go in here, you'd look for zombies and not find them because they're under sleepers. You have really 4 basic sleepers. You have your sitting sleeper. We're missing a standing sleeper for some reason because I write S, just want a sleeper. You're sitting, lying on your back, lying on your side. Oh, sorry, 5, lying on your stomach and standing up. I really only use the standing up and sitting guys. You also have these others, such as, actually, I shouldn't say infested, that's a separate category, but you have like the dog. Is it? Here he is. Zombie sleeper dog. The animals like the bears and the chickens. You have Grace and such. These actually don't matter. Like, I'll get to that later, but they don't. If anything, they're just a visual cue for you as to what you intend them to be. But because you just place a chicken there doesn't mean it's going to be a chicken. So really the only ones that matter are these ones. And whether it starts out sitting or standing, or I suppose laying down, is really the only things that are the difference between them. The red ones are for sleepers. Are for infested quests specifically. They do matter in the sense that if you wanted to make your quest an infested quest, then you want to add these in addition to your normal array of zombies. And by array, you're basically making a grouping. Like anything in the prefab editor, it's all based on the volume. So there's a couple different ways of going about it. I actually find it easy just to hit escape, go into the level tools, level tools, and you can just hit sleeper volume, and it'll create a random sized volume for you, which I don't think it's random. I think it's always this size. You need to resize it based on what size you want it to be. And we actually don't want it here, so I'm just gonna backspace to get rid of it. Put it. That's a good question. I'm gonna put it in the basement. What I want to do. So escape sleeper volume. Just click it. Gives you a volume. Shift G. I would say Control Shift G. Size it a little bit smaller. Manageable anyway. Shift G. Doesn't really matter that it's extending outside, but I like to be neat. There we go. So here is our volume for our zombies. And then what you're basically just doing is saying this volume contains X number of zombies, they are this type of zombie, and they act in this way. Or they're activated in this way is what I should say. So what is in here doesn't matter. When you place these dudes, these little, I don't know what to call them, avatars or whatever, because they're not actual sleepers. They're basically placeholders. So you place one here, and you place one, let's just say, here. So we have 2 in there. And when we hit K, you have to make sure it's selected. You just left click to select the volume. Sometimes it's hard to get, like, especially if you have it inside and you're halfway in through a wall, it won't let you select it and you wind up just punching something. So just be a little aware of what's right in front of you because you don't want to accidentally destroy your lantern and have to place it again. See, like this, I can't quite get it. You can usually select it when you're inside of it, though. So there you go. So this is selected when it's green, unselected is blue. So with it being selected, you hit K, and that will give you your sleeper volume controls. This is where you say, okay, it's an ID. We'll get to that in a minute. Priority volume, that usually just want to leave on no. It really only matters if you have two volumes overlapping and you want one to be of higher priority than the other. But I haven't had any conflicts with this, so I just leave it at no. Quest exclude is important if you have a large build especially and you have zombies everywhere. If you want to make it a quest, like a clear quest, then you're going to have certain spots where you've probably placed some zombies that aren't really that important. And you don't want to be the jerk that has that one zombie that's stuck away in the corner, like way off, not even really quite in the zone. That doesn't matter, but if someone was to come across it, it would be a fun encounter. You can just make that an excluded from the quest volume, and that way those volumes don't matter to the actual quest, so you can still clear the quest without killing them, but they can still be in the game, or in the prefab, in the quest, so to speak, in case someone was to come across them. That's especially useful for ones that might escape or like roam off the map or something, because that can happen. Details you'll get into if you build that big with the prefab editor. So in this case, I'm just going to leave it at no because I don't care, because I don't have any quests set. And in the preset count, the preset numbers are just a range of one number to the next highest number, so 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, etc. Or you can just type in what you want. And since I just want 1, I'll just make sure it says 1 to 1. And then as for what it is, you have, I think it's 3, 4, 5, 6 pages of options. Some of these don't seem to really do anything. Like I set, where is it? This is like this weird one. It's like Zom Boss, Zom Badass. Like I set that as a group, and as far as I could tell, it was just a generic group. And generic group is one of the options, so group generic zombie. In this particular case, I want a very specific zombie because it's representing the witch. I think the most witch represented zombie in the game is a Big Mama. So I'm looking for her. Here she is. Zombie female. Fat. Big lady. Dirty underwear. And because I'm a jerk, I'm going to make her feral. Because I'm a jerk. Because I love it. The last thing that matters is the trigger. So I haven't quite figured out the difference between attack and active. Passive, I think, just means they're just sort of like chilling out. Like, unless you make noise or interact with them, they're not going to react to you. So I generally don't use passive because that's kind of boring. Although there may be situations where that's important to you. I'm sorry, Commander Hammer asked a question. Is there a way to save and use old builds from older updates? Apparently there is, but I haven't quite learned how to do it. I believe it's a matter of editing the XML file, I think. I have found that you can still load a prefab, and then as long as it lets you, save it in the new, whatever the new version is, and then it'll save it, like, update it for you. So as long as it's not too old, it should open, and then you should be able to update it by saving it again. If it is old, then yes, I have learned something about that, but I don't know the specifics. So stay tuned. I will have to cover that in the future. In fact, I'll probably be covering that in the next one when I go over placing it in the world, because that kind of includes that sort of stuff. So thank you for asking. Where was I though? Oh yeah, placing the zombies. So you got them in here. Last thing is this trigger. My favorite is actually to use trigger. When you start placing lots of zombie volumes, I highly recommend making a spreadsheet. Like, just any spreadsheet. You don't even have to be a spreadsheet. It just needs to be a chart so that you can keep track of your zombie volumes, because you're going to have a large number of them. And your triggers. And you will add triggers. I have one build that I made that's pretty sizable. I have about 50, give or take, between the two, zombie volumes and triggers. They're together, so I guess it makes 100 altogether. I just have zombies all over the place. And I do have a lot of those like little ones where if someone was to wander off in this one corridor, they will encounter something, because if they don't, it's boring. But they very well might not go into that one little nook or cranny, and I don't want that to be important to the quest, so they were excluded as part of the quest. I learned that the hard way, by the way. I learned most of the things I'm teaching you the hard way. I just want you all to know that. It's always the hard way with me. I learned by experience, I guess. So your group ID is basically it's exactly what you think it is. It's your zombie volume ID. So this particular zombie volume, I'm just going to give it an ID of 1, just because. And zombie volume 1 might as well just be triggered by 1. Even though I don't have a trigger yet, that doesn't really matter, because I will in a moment. So that being like it is, if we didn't want to trigger it, I should have added this. So go back into K to get to your menu. If you leave it on like attack, which is the other one I use the most, you just want to make sure your volume is extended to the point where you want the zombies to be able to react to the player when they enter that area. So like I'm a dude coming down these steps, just hit Q so I'm not floating around. And like right now I can see that zombie, but he will not be aware of me, even if I was to make a decent amount of noise. At least this is my understanding. But once I get into this area, why am I floating? I'm not supposed to be floating. Stop floating. Stop it. Stop floating. Huh. There we go. Someone. Okay, that's just kind of weird. I'm like stuck inside the zombie volume. Right, didn't expect that. Sorry. So we'll just go back to Q. So I'm a dude. I'm coming down here. Once I enter into the actual volume, though, then he'll be able to perceive me. He might not, because I might have like all my perks up or being all quiet and stuff. But he has the chance to. In order to tweak that, if you go to the sleeper itself and you hit E, you get to the sleeper properties. And that's the other place where you make these adjustments. I usually just start by hitting Monster Closet Preset. I don't know why that's not the default, because it sort of makes a little more sense. But the actual default is, so they have like, they can't see worth anything. So they're not going to see you unless you come up and smack them in the face. But they will hear you 100% of the time. So if you make any noise, they will hear you. And their sight angle is also set at -1, so they're just like blind zombies that can hear everything. It seems a little off to me, but there must be a reason for it. I still usually do hit Monster Closet Preset. It gives you the sight angle or sight range of 4, which I take to mean 4 blocks. So that's diagonally as well as horizontally and vertically. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's actually just to the corner. I think 1, 2. Yeah, that should be right up to the corner there, which is perfect. Again, E to bring this up. Monster Closet Preset. His hearing percentage is now dropped down to 10. I'll just give him a 50-50% chance. Actually, I'm going to give him a slightly better percentage chance of that. I want to make it easy on everyone. And the sight angle, I'm just going to leave. It's at 60. I believe that to be a radius, like a firing arc, so to speak, if we were talking about starships, which we're not, so I don't know why I said that. But whatever you do set these to, you got to make sure you hit save, or else it doesn't save the changes and you got to do it all over. It's just sort of annoying. I'm gonna set this to 60 and save it. So you have your sleepers, like again, I call them placeholders. That seems to kind of be what they are. the volume itself is what's telling this to be actual sleepers. If you didn't have the volume and you just place these sleepers, they won't appear. Like, they just won't be there. They'll never appear. So you need the volume, and the volume needs these little guys in here to tell, so the volume knows where to actually put them once they spawn. But since oops, I think I forgot to reset. So hit K to bring up the volume menu. I did forget to reset it, so I do want to go back to trigger, because like I said, I like using triggers. Since we took this off of that, it reset it. Group ID is still 1. I'm going to have it triggered by trigger 1, whatever that trigger might be. And in this case, maybe I won't do that. No. So if I do a trigger, which I want to do because I want to show you how to use a trigger. So I'm going to do the trigger. So a trigger can be about anything. It can be an area, and you can define that area by going into escape, and under the volume tools you have trigger volume, and it works like you just hit trigger volume, which apparently it did make right here because it's so big it couldn't tell. And just like the zombie volume, you'd have to resize it. And in this particular case then, what we're saying is anyone who enters this trigger area, it's like this probably would be entering the kitchen, so to speak. So set it as such. That. So then you'd set this, whoops, with K, and its triggers is 1. It triggers 1. It is the trigger for 1, and 1 being this, which again with K is triggered by 1. So 1 is 1. That's just convenient. It usually doesn't work out that way. I started out with like zombie group 1 being triggered by trigger 1, but then I wound up with like one trigger triggering like 7 volumes or 8 volumes, so your numbers aren't going to match up. I wouldn't even bother, just because it's nothing to worry about. Or if you really have to line things up, like make your zombie volumes like 101, and then your trigger starts with 1. It's just easier. But again, make a spreadsheet. It saves a lot of trouble, a whole lot of trouble later on. So in this particular case, if this was the trigger, once somebody entered this area, the zombies would wake up. I don't actually want that for this particular volume though. I guess I should say it's unnecessary in this particular case. So I'm just going to highlight it and hit backspace, and that will delete the volume. That's also another reason I don't suggest using backspace to clear your volume like as a habit, because when you're playing around with these types of volumes, you might not want to actually delete it accidentally. Next, and if you use left click, it won't. That's just to select it. What I do want to do in this particular case, though, is make an object trigger. And there's lots of objects you can make triggers. The one things you unfortunately cannot make triggers are lootable objects, which is kind of unfortunate, because I would really like it if somebody like opened a chest and then that chest being opened triggered zombies. But so far, if there are any that will let me do that, I haven't figured out which ones they are, and all the ones I have tried haven't let me do that. So, but what does work are things like doors, switches. There's these cool switches in here. I'm not going to use them in this build. Switch. You got the one, actually kind of put them on the wall just so you can see them. That wall won't work. We'll have to do it here. So you got this type of switch and that kind of switch. This one's just the cooler one because it lights up, but it's just the one button, which is kind of sad. Whereas this one's got the cool two buttons, an on and an off, but it doesn't light up. And that's just kind of sad. So whatever your preference is, I generally use this one just because it looks cooler in the dark. And I like to make a lot of my builds dark in general because it is a zombie game. Those. But just to set that as a trigger is really easy. You just hit E, hold it down, edit trigger. It's right there. And then you want this to trigger 1. It's not triggered by, but you can also make this a triggered by because it's a door. So if you had this triggered by something, so we'll just say triggered by 2, then when something else is done, like, I guess this door could be a trigger. So if you made this a trigger, this triggers 2. Then when you open this door will just automatically open, and that will trigger these guys for waking up. Of course, there's really absolutely no reason to do that, so I'm gonna just get rid of that. But it gives you an idea what you can do. So you can have strings of triggers triggering multiple things. There's no reason why this can't trigger more than just this one zombie down here. So it could trigger another group of zombies like outside, or it could trigger these lights to turn on or off. You could have a trigger to like a door opens and the lights come on. Or you could have like I don't know, you open a secret door and all the lights go off, which would be kind of suspenseful. There's lots of ways of using them. I've only started to use some of these ways, so I would love to hear ideas if anyone has them in the comments tonight or later. That would be great. Once you have your zombie placed, I'm just going to show you with this particular one. Let me double check. So we don't want this to trigger. Triggered by is off. This is correct. It does trigger the zombie volume. I know I am actually confident that will work fine, but this might be your first time doing this. And in which case, we're going to test it. Now is actually a good time to move that to level tools to move the ground back up. So I'm going to do show ground level and move it right back up here. I'm going to save it. Save all my changes just to be safe. And I think it's on the first tab, which is debug tools. You just go to playtest. And it takes a second, and it should just do the usual loading game. Every now and again, this does crash on me. I hope it doesn't this time, because that would just be embarrassing. But I'd say like 20% of the time, it'll kind of just not go anywhere, and I have to close the game and start it back up. But it worked great this time. As you can see, the ground is like, looks right, actually. We could talk to this guy. If this had been made a quest, we could get the quest here to test it. He has this cool little box here that has all the dev tools in it in case you wanted to grab the kill everything pistol because you're worried about your life. We might as well because we don't have any other weapons on us right now. I am not on God mode, so it's cool for testing, but you can turn it on if you wanted to, or you had a reason to. Maybe you have a really big POI and you want to get to the other side real fast. So that's a great way of doing it. By the way, to do that, when you're in God mode, you can do this at any time when you're in God mode. If you hold shift and hit Q, you skip ahead, like, I think it's 25 blocks or something. It's like a lot. Pretty significant. You can cover a lot of ground that way. Anyway, just a little tip. So we are here. I turn my headlamp. Oh, my headlamp isn't even on. Broke my leg. Let's go back to God mode, get rid of that. All right, no more leg broken. This actually looks really good. I won't lie. I'm happy with this. This is pretty freaking sweet. Still wish I could have put something in here. I'll have to think about that. Maybe I can make the kitchen a little smaller. Doesn't really need that extra wall. Just need to make sure I have space for this. Okay, so if everything's correct, then when I open this, a zombie should spawn. Yeah, it did. Get here. And if we're right, it's a big fat mama, and it is. Hey, mama, it's a feral. But I have my kill everything gun, so she was no problem for me. And damn, this is great. This is sweet. She's dead. Well, shit, there we are. The only flaw is that I have to have these right here to open and close this. That's a pretty minor flaw. And I think I know how to fix it. Well, maybe not. Not that. I'm going to fix this, though. So the good news and the bad news. I'll start with the bad news. The bad news is we're done. We're done. Holy crap, we did it. We finished. I'm going to build this little garden on my own on the side just because it's kind of a more tedious thing to be building. The object of that is to have like a hidden little garden. I made this bigger than necessary. Oh, this isn't. We're still in testing. That's why. Let's get out of testing. Back to editor. Back to the editor. So I'm going to build this little garden. The objective is in the story of Hansel and Gretel, at least the version that I found that was the most like accurate to my memory as a kid growing up, on Wikipedia. And according to Wikipedia, there's like at least 7 versions of this story based on what culture you're talking about. But the Hansel and Gretel version, which I believe is from Germany originally, or at least that area of the world, has Hansel being locked in a cage in the garden. And I think Gretel manages to escape, and then she sneaks back at the time where the witch is preparing to put Hansel into the oven, or maybe after she already does, because it was a grim story after all. They don't have happy endings. At least the originals didn't. And then she, being Gretel, pushes the evil witch into the oven and kills her, locks her up. That was part of the reason for having to be so nitpicky over this friggin' oven, is because I needed it to fit a person, not only children, but also the witch herself. Because technically she has to be able to fit in there. And it had to have like a lockable door of some kind. But I didn't want a door that, when closed, hid the fact that there's like the glowing embers and stuff in here, because this looks really cool. So I really wanted to go with like that sort of, I guess, pizza oven, old style pizza oven, at least the way that I think of it, like this. And it turned out really great. I did have some help. I can't remember off the top of my head who was the person who gave me the advice, but it was great advice during, I think, our second episode. Other than that, I mean, it is basically done. I'm going to do the finishing touches and then wrap it all up. I'll test my theory to see if it actually does screw up those that one zombie volume. And I'll probably add a couple little things just to spice it up. Then I'm going to wrap it all up in a nice little bow, and it's going to become available for anyone who is a member of our Discord channel. So the description of that is also going to be in the description of this video once I get around to actually putting it in there, because I didn't think of that ahead of time, because that would have been smart, and I'm not always that smart. Not always. But I am creative, and I hope you really enjoyed this build. Again, we'll be back with the intentions of showing you how to actually place this thing into a world. And after that, I'm going to continue this series with more builds. I do have an idea for the next holiday build, the next holiday being Christmas time, the winter holidays. Oh, I need to fix that. Nah, it looks okay. I need to paint that though right there. Gingerbread, not concrete. All right, now we're all good. Beautiful. Beautiful. So zombies, triggers, you got your zombie volumes, they're great. A reason that these don't matter, I mentioned that these don't matter, I forgot to actually finish that particular thought, is because, the actual volume here is what tells the zombie what it is. So it's going to tell it if it's a bear based on this. If you click animal zombie bear and leave this, then these guys will spawn as bears. Also, I didn't kind of make it like a particular point, but by placing 2 here, but setting the volume to only being 1, then when it spawns, or when the volume spawns the sleeper, it's going to choose randomly which of these places the zombie will spawn in. So if I had 4 places, it'll choose between those 4, technically randomly. I don't know what random really means, but if says random, I'm going to believe it. That does seem to be the case. I've tested this a few times, and it's exactly what it does. The position of them actually does seem to matter. Like if they're sitting, then it takes them an extra second to actually stand up. I guess if they're lying down, it's going to take them a little bit longer than if they're just sitting. And if they're standing, like if they're looking in the opposite direction, it will take them a moment to turn around. So you can adjust or tweak your zombies in that manner, as well as hitting the E key on the actual sleeper volume to adjust it in the manner as far as its senses are concerned. Always hit save on those. K is the magic key for bringing up your volume controls, which are very important. And again, that's pretty much it. If I was to accidentally hit backspace right now, it would completely destroy this volume, but it would leave the sleepers. Sleepers are a little difficult to get rid of. I highly recommend you never use the super digger to try to get rid of a sleeper. The best way to get rid of them is to just select them with the Z key and make a volume, and then hit J. With the Shift Z, and then you can hit J to clear it out. So I didn't actually want to do that. I can't undo with sleepers either. If I hit Control Z, it wouldn't put him back. So I just have to actually put him back. E to bring up the sleeper volume property, or sorry, sleeper property. And then again, I always use the monster closet preset and then adjust it from there. Usually all I really do is change their hearing up a bit. And in this case, I'm going to make, so the sight range is 4. I'll make it 5. And then always hit save. So she's a little bit more likely to detect whoever's coming down. Although they are active when the trigger triggers them, they don't necessarily sense you. So that is something to keep in mind when you're making these. So your dude, whoever that might be, or you, or your best buddy, or some random stranger comes down. And although they're active and they're there, they won't necessarily react to you until you, again, enter into their usual area. But I believe once they're triggered, it's not based on this volume. It's based on their sensory ability. So if their sight range is 5, then this particular one, if that was where she was located, should be able to sense you by the time you're about right here on this step. If I'm counting correctly, which I think I am. 5. 1, 2, 3, at least 5. Which I think that's only 4 away. So she might be able to sense you as soon as you start down the stairs. Actually, I'm pretty sure that's true. Whereas this one's a little further away, so it wouldn't catch you until you're pretty much about here. Which is cool because it gives you a chance to see them and snipe them with an arrow before they sense you. But if you go a little too far, or just a little bit further in, they will sense you and come after you and try to eat your face. And that's what zombies do. So there we go. So the bad news is we're done. The good news is I will be sharing this for anyone who wants to use it. And I will be doing that actually for all of my prefabs that I build in this series, because that just seems cool. Because why not? It's free stuff. So anyway, thank you again for watching. Thank you very much for your comments to Commander Hammer and Glacier Squad, and of course Rat Pack. And I hope to catch you all on the next episode of Build It Live with GONxFREAKS. Have a great evening.